Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the RC Barn. It's been a few days, actually, it's been a week. I've been learning a lot about editing and videotaping and stuff, so I took a little bit of a break. Got some new software, so hopefully the little black screen around the black border around the screen will go away, so that way you guys can enjoy it a little bit better. It drives me nuts when I'm working on that and or looking at that through my phone, which is usually my device of choice. So, anyways, today it's just going to be a little short video. I'm working on the twin here. I did get it covered over the weekend. I did work a little bit out here. That's the top. Orange looks pretty nice. Have not gotten the bottom checkerboard yet, but I did get the white put on. I still got to do the center section. I ain't decided what I'm going to do there. I did build that out so that way when it's made it up with the wing, it's a smooth transition, to the fuselage. So, anyways, I'm ready to go ahead and get my nacelles glued up here. So this is just a little tutorial about glue types. When should you use them? There's lots of different kinds. I use lots of different types of glue. I use CA, I use thin, medium, thick, usually medium most of the time. There's epoxies, there's tight bond, wood glue, nothing wrong with that, just a little slower to set up. You can see some of my glues over here that I use. CA, I got this from Hobby Shop in Wapakoneta. That's toy shop. Nice folks. Never been to his hobby shop, but he goes to swap meets pretty often. That's where I usually purchase stuff from him. You got canopy glue, epoxy. Anyways, when you're dealing with different types of glues, the biggest thing to remember is what are you doing? The quicker that glue sets, the weaker that the glue is. And an old friend of mine always told me, just remember, glue doesn't give you strength. It's the bonding action that gives you strength. So whenever we're doing firewalls, rudder, elevator, hinges, stuff like that, landing gear plates, anything that you think would require some durability in your joints, that's where we go to epoxy at. Servo mounts, servo trays. There's lots of uses for epoxy. There's also different setting types. You got 5, 15, 30 minute. I usually stay away from the 5-minute stuff. I have some in my toolbox when I go over the field if I need something quick I need to repair something. Never know when an incident can happen. 5 minutes usually your friend. CA is nice. Some people are allergic to the fumes. So that's where tight bond and wood glues come in. They take a little longer to dry, but it's the fume's not there. So anyways, thin is for fast wicking. Usually reserve thin to fiberglass in the center section like I've done here, and this was all done with thin. CA style hinges are done with thin, so they wick into the wood, and they but it's also instant, so it sets fast, and the fumes are very, very strong with thin. Medium is usually my go-to type for just general building. Sheeting, setting wings up, ribs, stuff like, firewall, or not firewalls, but, formers and that kind of stuff. I like medium. I used to use thick a lot, but now I've kind of went to the medium. No real big reason for that. So anyways, I got some supplies set out here. Always remember to keep your Pringles tops. Pringles is part of the shop. You should keep your plastic lids because they serve a great purpose when it comes to mixing epoxy. They're flexible, so when it's dry, you can usually just pop the epoxy off and reuse it again until it's pretty gross looking, and you can throw it away and grab another one. You can use any kind of lid that known to man. I mean, if you're out there and you're throwing your lids away, don't stop doing that. Use it for your epoxy. Now I like to use a good old epoxy brush from Debro here. They're also known as acid brushes for soldering. You can get them on Amazon super duper cheap, like 100 for like $10, I think is the last time I checked. I get mine from Debro just because they're not that expensive there either. So I also got some. We're gonna glue our nacelles down with 30-minute epoxy here. You want to mix equal parts. That's the biggest thing. I'll show you what I got here. I'm gonna put you guys on the stand, and we'll get to work here. So, anyways, like I said, you want to mix equal parts. I usually use like I said, I'm gonna use the lid here. This is brand new. I'll probably have to open it up here. I don't usually open it up very much. You know, give yourself a little bit of a opening there. Try to keep them equal is what I try to do. That way you can get equal lines. This usually has, yep, they're plugged. You can grab grab an old piece of the covering material here. Set our stuff down so our table don't get all messy. There we go. Anyways, what I like to do here, I'll get you kind of close here. Like I said, equal parts. And I'm going to do these both at the same time, so I'm going to mix a bunch up here. This has got a pretty good working order, 30-minute does. There's one half. We're going about 3 times back and forth. We'll do the same about here. There we go. See, equal. And mix it in really good. Like so. Make sure it's get mixed in real good. That's the biggest thing, is just then I'm going to start, if you remember on the previous episode, I made these the sheet in the back. That's going to be my main gluing surfaces right here. If you're worried about having a mess, you know, say you're gluing a set of wing halves together, you can always use a little bit of saran wrap and wrap the joint a little bit. You can tape it, and then, you know, the tape will kind of contain where your joint is at. I'm not that too worried about it here, as you can tell. And then we got to make sure we get the right one on the right. Got the right one. Got it marked. I didn't strip the epoxy down on the bottom, but I'm still going to put a little bit of glue there. Okay, there's that. Don't want to put a lot of force here, just enough to hold it. You can use T-pins. You can clamp it. You can use a spring clamp. Bring it away a little bit here. There's lots of options here for, you know, how you how you glue this down. The biggest thing is making sure that you're on your marks. If you're doing like a stabilizer, you need to, might need a little T-pin there to keep it from sliding around. I'm just going to put a T-pin in there. Bent that little one. Kind of like that. There we go. It's not fitting too bad. And then we'll go ahead and go over to the other side. Oh, that's pretty good. Might not have mixed enough. But anyways, if you don't get equal parts on your epoxy, what will happen? Well, epoxy won't be so strong, and it'll cure up a little faster if you mix it hot, which is called, when you put too much hardener in your epoxy. If you don't put enough hardener in, then what will happen is it'll never cure. It'll just be gooey. If your epoxy goes bad, the same thing can happen. It can never cure. There you go. And again on the bottom. And you can never use too much. A guy once told me, when you're laying up epoxy, if you have no epoxy using from your joint, then you didn't use enough. Up. We'll clean these joints up with a bit of trim tape when it comes time to doing some finishing stuff. I'll show you how I like to make my own here. There you go. That's not going anywhere. Remember, you got to say that when you're clamping stuff down. Otherwise it'll move on you, and then next morning when you go to look at it, you'll be like, oh my god, what did I do? Now, if you do screw up, what happens? What can you do to undo that? Well, you're probably going to destroy a lot of cover, because the only way that I really know to loosen or get epoxy to loosen up is with heat. So obviously the longer that it's been there, the harder it's going to be. Usually if it's an old plane and I got to cut the firewall or something because it's damaged or something along those lines, usually end up rebuilding it because you're going to just rip it apart. But something like this, if you come back the next day, the epoxy's hardened, and one of your rudders are off or your nacelles off, you can literally heat this stuff up with a blowgun, with a heat gun, and it'll gooey back up, and you can remove it. I've never had to do that before, but you know, there's always a first for everything. So I got time here. This stuff here, I'll tell you here in a second on the directions. I'm pretty sure it's got like a 30-minute work or 15-minute working time. It says sets in 30 minutes. Items can be handled in 8 hours. Full bond strength in 24 hours. When mixing large quantities, working time is reduced to under 10 minutes. So we basically got 10 minutes before this stuff is unworkable. So now's the time to make any corrections. So let's find it. There it is over on the other. Of course, it's always on the other side of the shop. Anyways, not that you can see anything because I'm going to be measuring. You can see the front here. And I just want to make sure my firewalls are straight to the wing. And I'll check the other one. And it's not too bad. There's a little bit of right in there. We can. This is the one that was kind of moving around on me a little bit. There we go. Maybe. There we go. I like that. And all I'm doing is putting a square. As my clamps fall off. Obviously loosen them up just a little bit too much. There we go. Now, the idea here is just to let this thing sit. And don't get too big in a rush when it comes time to, you know, when you're doing stuff like this. Just let it sit. It's in good shape where it's at. It is, you know, hopefully when you come back the next day, it's still sitting the way it should be here. I don't know that I'm a fan of the color scheme yet. I kind of, like I said before, I came up with this idea with the different colors because that's what I had available to me. And so we'll see. I mean, I ain't in love with it yet, but you know, it'll be different when it's all put together. And I still got some that neon yellow that I can put on it also. So anyways, that's going to be it for today. If I decide to film any more, I'll go ahead and upload that too tonight. But anyways, you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching. Hope you like it. And if, like I always say, if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask. There's, you know, I've been doing this a long time. So anyways, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff that they always tell you to do at the end of the video. And we will talk to you next time.